So we'll do a bit more than just reading the abstract here because it has some good information, and as I like, there are a couple of figures which are useful and usable for a podcast. Students' opinion about Green Campus initiatives, a South American university case study. Institutions of higher education are of strategic importance to increase awareness on sustainable development. The Green Campus initiatives tend to implement infrastructure on university campuses which have concrete and visible environmental, economic, and social impacts. Actual practical implementations with learning by project-based or problem-based courses. These impacts are to be obtained through the involvement of campus members, sustainable infrastructures, classes, research, management, communications, and of course through outreach. These initiatives develop resources for environmental education efforts to reach campus members in efforts to teach about sustainable development. Therefore, this research intends to analyze a South American university student's opinion about sustainable development by people and university infrastructure for sustainable development as a place. This study was for people, sustainable development for the people and for the place. This study was developed by descriptive statistical techniques and by a survey that resulted in 305 answers from the students at the business department of the university. This article will increase the academic knowledge about Green Campus through empirical data and will provide the recommendations for the next path regarding sustainable initiatives in higher educations. We'll see the kind of detailed questions that were asked, but I would suggest that doing this with students from non-business school can, especially arts, humanities, economics, engineering, and sciences, may lead to slightly different answers because the perceptions and the goals and long-term vision of the business school students tend to be somewhat different than the other schools. Not in a good or bad way, it's just that their outlook on life tends to be somewhat oriented towards the private sector, whereas the others may have mixed views: private sector, businesses, governments, people, and so on, societies, and so on. So Green Campus, let's read here. Green Campus multi-criteria, tree and weight. So obviously you look at renewable energy, so weights are given which I won't read. Energy efficiency, hydro efficiency, so water use, transport efficiency, waste management, which always comes up because it's very critical in terms of sustainability, and education itself. Okay, so based on the survey, weights are given. And within each of them, you look at percentage of renewable energy used, reduced in the use of energy from fossil fuel sources, increase in the use of renewable energies, diversify the use of renewable energies, greenhouse gas emissions reduction policy. And in the energy efficiency, there was that's reduction in the consumption of energy, energy conservation programs, and retrofitting of buildings to increase efficiency. And in the hydro efficiency, water use, rainwater use, so rainwater harvesting, water reuse, so recycling of the water itself, and water consumption reductions. Okay, so in the transportation sector, you have increased use of the public transportation, go biking, redesigning the system around the campus, infrastructure, electric vehicle, and technology. And for waste management, recycling program, composting, reduced waste production, zero waste program, zero paper program, selective collections of garbage, electronic waste, hazardous waste management, and so on. And finally, in education, you have environmental education program, sustainable development academic council, increased student participation in these education programs. What did they conclude after all this? The results of the student survey demonstrated that only 50.2% of the students possess knowledge regarding the concept of sustainable development and prefer social media to acquire information about the subject. As I said, this is very much a function of asking the business school students as opposed to others. Besides that, more than 91% of the students consider sustainable development important for society, the environment and economy, despite not researching the topic. So intuitively they are aware, sounds good, they want to do sustainable things, they think society should head towards sustainability, but they are not really researching. So intentions versus actions can be, very different. Most students consider universities important for the promotion of sustainable development, although they do not acknowledge the initiatives and the projects in favor of sustainability inside the university. So engagement is low, awareness is low. Education is deeply linked, again a function of business school versus other schools. Education is deeply linked to the aspects of sustainability. Therefore, it emphasizes the importance of the development of green campus initiatives to contribute with students' participation in sustainability in many aspects of university life. Okay, we'll come back and look at this idea of open source and sustainability, the role of university. It's a bit funky in the sense it wants to imagine having everything be open source within the university context for education, software, intellectual property, and so on and so forth. It's a good idea, but in terms of actual sustainability implementation on campuses, I would say maybe there are other low-hanging fruits that we need to pick on first before we start worrying about futuristic utopian ideas about open source everything, because this struggle has gone on in the real world, in the software business and so on, hasn't had a great success because ultimately people have to make a living out of whatever they are doing. So open source has to have a monetizing model, or a model that pays for people's efforts. Wikipedia is one thing where you are volunteering your time and putting in your energy, but Wikipedia also begs for contributions. So they are running an operation that is where somebody is getting paid, right? So open source has some challenges, but we'll just read the abstract.